Hey, my name is Matt Johnson, and today I'm going to be showing you how to quickly set up your Tascam Portacapture X8 to record flawless 32-bit float audio for YouTube videos, wedding films, or anywhere else you need to record high-quality audio. First, power on your X8, and you can ignore all these fancy presets and other menu options because we first need to dig into the general settings by tapping that in the bottom right. First, go to the record settings at the top and make sure that you're recording with a file format set to WAV, a sample rate of 48 kilohertz, and most importantly, make sure that your bit depth/bitrate is set to 32-bit float. This setting is going to give you all the magic that comes from 32-bit float. That means you're not going to have to deal with audio that's not too quiet or too loud, so that's definitely why you need to make sure this is turned on. You can keep everything else in this setting turned off: record pause off, auto record off, dual record off, pre-record off, time file increment off. Press back and go to the system settings now, and make sure that your date and time settings are set properly. This is definitely going to help whenever you're copying and organizing your files. You need to make sure the date is correct, and it's also where you can change the file names that are saved with every file. So if you go down here to File Name, select Execute, and if you're recording something specific, say a wedding ceremony, you can go in and change the file name of the recording to say Ceremony. That way you can easily know which files from the wedding ceremony whenever you're editing. Also in the System menu is where you will find the Media Format option, which will delete your memory card. Anytime you put a fresh memory card in your recorder, I recommend doing this to make sure the memory card is formatted properly for recording audio with the X8. Lastly, go into the Power/Display menu, and I would make sure that Auto Power Saved is turned on, and make sure that you select your battery type. If you're using regular alkaline batteries, rechargeables, or lithium batteries. By choosing the correct battery type, this is going to help the recorder properly report how much battery life is remaining to you, which is really important, because you need to know if your recorder is about to die or not. This is also where you can turn on Power Save mode, which is going to dim the screen and give you better battery life. But because we're looking at the screen now, we're going to turn that off so we can see it. Okay, press back and go back to the launcher because we are done with settings and we are almost ready to get recording. On the launch screen, you're going to want to select the manual preset. We don't need anything fancy. Manual all day, baby. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do whenever you access the manual preset is you're going to want to tap the hamburger menu in the top left and then go to Input Select. The X8 is a 6-track recorder, but it's up to you to tell it which tracks you want to record and where you want your audio to be coming from. So select track 1-2 here, and you're going to be presented with a helpful graphic showing you the recorder and all of the possible audio inputs that it can take. For this example, let's say I have an XLR cable that I'm going to be plugging in from the DJ soundboard into one of the left XLR inputs on the X8. So in this case, I'm going to tap input 3-4 because I plugged this into input 3, and that's going to tell the recorder that I want the first 2 audio tracks to be recorded from these 2 inputs on the left. Now, if you have more audio than just 2 inputs, you can select track 3 and 4 and select input 5-6 if you want to plug in audio cables to the 2 right ports of the recorder, or if you want to use the recorder's built-in microphones at the top, select inputs 1 and 2 at the top. For now though, I'm just going to leave this on input 5-6 and press back. Back on the home screen now, you'll see that on the bottom left there is a number 3 that has some audio bars indicating that the recorder is picking up sound. If you don't see this green audio bar, it could be that you've just plugged in the soundboard and the DJ needs to bring up the audio volume or unmute the microphone so you can hear it and test it. Now you can come down here and press the red record button. That's going to bring up a really helpful guide that's going to walk you through what you need to do to start recording audio. This guide can, of course, be disabled, but if you are using your recorder for the first time, this is what you're going to see. The guide starts by telling you to select your recording track by lighting it up with red, then adjust the gain and make sure the audio doesn't peak while you're adjusting it. So the first thing you need to do is tell the recorder which audio tracks you actually want to record the inputs from. At the bottom down here, you have 3, 4, 5, and 6, all of which are lit up red. If they're lit up red, that means they will be recorded, but we only have one input that we've plugged into, input 3, so we don't actually need all of these other inputs. And if you leave them activated, the recorder is going to record all of these separate audio tracks as silence, and this is just going to make things cluttered whenever you're editing, and it's a waste of space. So you're going to want to tap on all these bottom numbers that you do not want to record so they turn gray, and even these 2 dashes here. Of course, if I was recording from input 4, 5, or 6, I would leave them red. And next, you can press here and drag up and down to adjust the gain of the audio. But there are some other settings we need to change, so I recommend tapping this microphone icon here, which is going to bring up input settings for this specific input. First, I would make sure that stereo link is turned off. If you have two inputs plugged into these left two inputs and you have stereo link turned on, that is going to mix the two audio tracks together, which can be really bad news if you're recording to separate sources of audio. Believe me, you want to keep this turned off. Below that, you're going to be able to select input and you can choose between mic or line. Typically, if you're plugging directly into a DJ's soundboard or into the back of a wireless receiver, you're going to want to select mic level. And if you're plugging to the back of a speaker, you're going to want to select line level. In short, mic level is usually much quieter than line level, so the X8 is going to boost its gain automatically, whereas if you're plugged into the back of a speaker, that's typically line level, which is dramatically louder. So to compensate, the X8 is going to drop its recording gain dramatically. Press back here, and below this, you're going to see you have an option to turn on and off phantom power. If you're plugging into a soundboard or speaker, you always want to leave this turned off because it can definitely cause issues if you have it turned on. As you can see though, I have it turned on, and that is because for this example, I'm using a shotgun mic running into this XLR input, and if I don't have phantom power turned on, the recorder won't be powering the microphone. So the only time I would turn phantom on is if you're plugging into a microphone with a cable directly into the recorder and you need to power that microphone. Next, I would also have auto gain turned off as well. Because you're recording 32-bit float audio, you do not need to worry about making sure your gain is dialed in super precisely. You can leave this off. I would also leave the low cut filter off, the noise gate filter off, the limiter comp off, the EQ off, the phase invert off. Just like with auto gain, because you're recording 32-bit audio, you don't need to worry about any of these settings, just make sure they're all turned off. Looking at the right side of the screen now, you have audio meters that are telling you how loud the audio is currently coming in, as well as your gain controls. If you notice that your audio is very quiet coming in, first of course check the soundboard that you're plugged into and try raising the audio levels there a bit. But if you notice that things are still too quiet, change your input gain at the bottom from low to high, which is going to significantly boost your audio volume. Next, you can tap and drag your audio gain level up and down, but for more precision, I really recommend and prefer using the red control dial down here at the bottom, which you can rotate for very precise gain adjustments. With your gain dialed in to a level that you like, I recommend trying to hit around -15 to -12 decibels or so on your meters. I would also keep an eye on this LED down in the bottom left, which is labeled peak. If you see this lighting up red, that means your audio gain's too high and you need to turn it down some. Also, if you have any other audio inputs that you're recording, like say you've plugged in a separate cable or you want to use the built-in microphones, those can be accessed by pressing the input settings numbers up at the top of the screen. Press back now. And down in the middle of the screen, you'll see that we're still in the built-in Tascam tutorial, and it says next step. Tap that. The tutorial is now going to tell you how to adjust your faders and make sure that your audio does not peak. Press OK, and then we'll also tell you to press the record button to start recording and ask if you want to see this tutorial again in the future. If you feel like you're going to forget or need any help, press yes, which will show this guide again the next time you want to record. So what is this mixer here, and why is it letting you change all of your audio gain levels again? I thought we just did that, right? Well, the X8 includes a really useful feature. Well, it will not only record all of your audio inputs separately as their own audio tracks and files, but the X8 is also going to record a mixed audio track as well that's going to include all of your audio sources mixed together. Now, I don't see this as super useful for wedding filmmaking, where I oftentimes want to make sure that my audio sources are kept separate, but if you're recording something live and you want to save a bit of time, you can adjust these levels and they will affect the audio recordings of that mixed track that the X8 is going to record. You can tap and drag up and down on these mixer bars to adjust the volume level, but that's not very precise. But notice that whenever I do that, they light up blue, and then I can use the control dial here to adjust the volume up and down. Personally, I don't use the mixer, and if you aren't planning on it either, you can actually completely ignore this screen. And with that, it is finally time to record. So to start recording, you can either press the big red record button in the bottom right, or you can tap record on the screen here, which is going to start recording. And congratulations, your X8 is now recording your audio input in beautiful 32-bit float audio. And as one final step, I would recommend bringing your hand over here to the right of the recorder and sliding up the hold switch, which will disable all of the buttons in case the DJ bumps into them or a wedding guest goes rogue and tries to take over the sound system. Lastly, I'm going to turn off hold, and then I'm going to press stop here. And as you can see down at the bottom of the screen, there's a home button, an input button, and a mixer button. So if you've disabled the built-in Tascam audio recording tutorial, you can press the input button, which is going to bring up the input page where you can tap on the microphone and dial in all of your settings for your specific input. And if you press the bottom left button, that's going to bring you to the mixer page where you can adjust your audio gain for that mixed file. With that, your X8 is now set up and you are ready to record audio at a wedding or anything else for that matter. Also, if you happen to be a wedding filmmaker like me, I want to help you book more weddings. I've created a free guide that's going to walk you through some practical steps that you can take right now in your business to book more couples and film more weddings. It's a completely free gift to you. You can download it at the link down in the video description. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.